What's up, y'all? It's your girl Cornelia back with another episode of Black News, a podcast where we break down current events, hot topics, and local stories involving Black people. Now let's get into it. There were protests this weekend, y'all. Protests. You got to be in a bubble if you ain't know it's no protest. Now I feel like I'm just telling y'all stuff that y'all already need to know or that y'all already knew. But no, let me not say that because some people don't be tapped in. Look, we said we was gonna chill. So it's likely that people may not have known what was going on. Y'all's president didn't. But I'll get to that in a minute. There were the No Kings protests happening across the country and across the world, come to find out, if you've been watching um, people chatter and post on social media. Child, everybody fed up. Everybody's sick of it. Everybody is sick of it. You know how bad it got to be for people in a country that is not ours to be like, let's hit the streets. The same thing happened the first time, but we're here again. So the No Kings protest happened, and it was essentially designed to run alongside of that military parade that was in Washington, D.C. That was, I'm doing air quotes, supposed to be celebrating 250 years of the United States military. Also, it was y'all friend's birthday, which nobody cares. But estimates kept coming in and rolling in. At one point, they were saying it was like 1 million people. Then they were saying it was 2 million. I saw 5 some million. Last time I looked, people were saying there were 12 million people worldwide protesting in the name of democracy, not having an authoritarian regime in this country, freedom, anti ICE and deportations and all of the things. Everybody has something has something they were protesting about, and people hit the streets. Love to see it. Okay, love to see it. Y'all know I have no problem with protesting. I am a firm believer in using your voice to stand for something and to stand up for other people. I also know the history of Black people in protesting and other demographics as well. But for the sake of this podcast, we always focus on the Black experience, civil rights movement. I talked about this in the past episodes of Black News. This is a part of getting things done in this country, child. We can take it all the way back to the suffragettes. Okay, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated was at the march. Okay, well, it was there, but people were out in the streets. And I did not protest. I was running errands. I am one of the Black people who, um, I have some really interesting feelings about it, which I'll get into in a second. But I was running errands and I was seeing, I live in the Valley. And if you're not from LA, the Valley is kind of like, if y'all some New Yorkers, it's kind of, people say they live in New York, but they may live in Brooklyn. That's the borough. Or they may live in Long Island. That's enough. Like, I think about the Valley as it like Brooklyn. It's not the same as far as culture and design, but I'm talking about as far as proximity and location. Brooklyn is at the bottom, the Valley's at the top. And just driving around my little errands, and I wasn't going miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. I had to be just within maybe a 15-mile radius, just driving around all day. And I ran into, I would say, about 7 different pockets of protest. Y'all, people was just on the side of the street getting busy. And I am in a very heavy Hispanic area. Now, let me put an asterisk by that. All of Los Angeles County is a very heavy Hispanic area. Whether people are from Mexico, Guatemala, you name it, it's deep. So the fact that even just driving down to the grocery store, there were pockets on the side of the street with hundreds of people just on a random street corner, flags out, signs, protesting, horns honking. I'm just going to say, I was very impressed. I was very impressed. And I say that because, yes, there were a lot of protests during the Black Lives Matter movement. And I'm learning now that people seem to be misunderstanding what that was about because in the discourse that's happened, I see a lot of people saying, "Well, we were protesting for y'all during Black Lives Matter movement." I could have swore the Black Lives Matter movement was about police disproportionately unaliving and harming Black and brown people. We are losing our lives at the hand of the police, people of color. I thought that's what it was about. Apparently, some people thought they were just protesting for George Floyd only, a black man only. I thought, I guess the messaging is off. But I was really impressed by the number of people that were out just in this little pocket. But all across LA County, chat, they was out here getting to it, which fantastic. Okay. Fan freaking tastic. Also was in a car at a stoplight and LAPD drove by a huge pocket of protesters. Them cops rolled their window down, was honking, throwing up the peace sign and yelling out like, yeah, it's in support, which ain't something I never thought I would see. Because if you talk Los Angeles Police Department, hey, I would never have thought that I'd see the day. And that's just them because we saw some footage later where the police was on horses beating up the protesters. So, hey, but it was good. It was also, as mentioned, all of this was happening the same time that there was supposed to be a massive parade in DC with tanks driving down the street and people marching. People was out there. Let me tell y'all something. That had to be one of the saddest looking events I've ever seen. And this is what I'm not understanding. A couple things could have happened. One, people were laughing and criticizing some of the soldiers because they weren't marching in step. They seemed real unorganized. A lot of military, current military, and ex-military were on social saying that that was a way of silent protest because there ain't no way, no matter how long you've been in the military, that the marching should have been that bad. People are assuming that that was their form of resisting, which respect it. But they were panning to certain sections and areas where the crowds were minimal, seats were empty. People were on social media broadcasting that they were reserving tickets and had no intention of coming. So I don't know if it was that caused it, where tickets were reserved, but people just didn't show up because of the protests, or if the supporters did not travel to Washington, D.C. for that. I don't honestly know. It may be just a mix of both, which and I can't put myself in the shoes of someone on that side because, I can't say if Barack Obama were president and he has something like this, will we go? Barack Obama wouldn't do nothing like this. He would have got raked over the coals if he would have spent $40 million on, or how much effort money on a parade like this. He would have got dragged. But if he did, and people felt moved, I imagine people would have traveled in droves. I went to the inauguration like just to go. It was packed. It was gonna go to Kamala's too. Was already preparing. I was about to buy me a winter coat. I ain't got no coat. So I don't know if his supporters just didn't go or if it was sabotage. Either way, ha ha, that's what you get. I also saw people saying, and I didn't see the exact footage, so I don't know if this is true. I'm gonna say allegedly that a reporter was interviewing, in the reporter bay, and they were saying like, what do you have to say about the protests happening all around the country and in the world? And he was like, "There's no protests. What are you talking about?" People were saying it sounded like, based on his reaction, that his team hasn't and isn't telling him that people were protesting. So it's likely he has no clue that any of this is going on. Which, one, I wouldn't be surprised. And two, I want us to make sure our reasons for protesting and resisting have nothing to do with his reaction, because it's likely that he will not see it and will not care or believe it. Okay. But it did look hella pitiful. It looked really pitiful. And they didn't even have no bands. Like, I understand, their people's rationale and line of thinking where they want to whiten up America, and they don't, they want everything to be, the same color and have the same tone. Y'all couldn't book no band. Like, I don't think I saw footage with no marching bands, nothing. They love them some little bands. And I'm not saying HBCU bands, and they better not have been out there doing none of the sonic boom, none of them moves. But y'all didn't. Nobody thought to book some marching bands just to liven it up a bit. They're like, come on, who planned this? But for me, and I mentioned just a second ago, I did not protest. Okay, I did not go out there. I have to be honest, and I don't remember if I talked about this last week or not because it's been a long week and I don't be remembering nothing. Okay, keep it a buck. I feel some kind of way. I'm one of those people. I really have sat with it and accepted that I feel some kind of way. We told y'all what was gonna happen. Black women were screaming at the top of our lungs about what was to come. And it's not like we didn't have a clue. This person was re elected. This ain't the first time out. This ain't some, oh, let's try it and see. This ain't some, well, maybe it sounds like some good ideas. We literally experienced 4 years of this, watched two attempted impeachments, and then the country went back and did it again. Which, put an asterisk right here. And people been pointing this out, especially with, people been talking and it's a lot of stuff. And the amount of people out here protesting, y'all know I'm a believer. I really think the election was stolen. Don't get me started about how some the battleground states, the down ballot candidates. You telling me that all the candidates down ballot was Democratic women and men, and at the top it wasn't? It doesn't add up. I'm trying to tell y'all. But even if whatever the case may be, we're here now. I feel a way that after all of what we said, I can only speak for myself. I donated. I was on all of the Zoom calls. I was on the Black Women Zoom. I was on the All Women Zoom. I was on the HBCU student alumni for Kamala Zoom. I was on the Hamptonians for Harris Zoom. I was on the comedians for Zoom. I was on you entertainers for Zoom. You name it, I was on it. I volunteered to text bank. I gave my time. I cussed people out on the internet. And I showed up with 92% of people, and I my protest was in that voting booth. I did my part and I was out here screaming at the top of my lungs, and y'all still made the decision to do otherwise. So I feel some kind of way that now we are being tasked and asked to get back in the streets when y'all should have listened in the first place. And I'm not talking about y'all listening to the Black News Podcast. But if people consistently told y'all, and now we're here, it is very, 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 very challenging for me to go to Michael's, go to Joanne Fabric, buy poster board, find a big old wooden stick, put some tape around the base on, get splinters, get some markers, pull the old markers out in the arts and crafts, come up with a witty slogan for my sign, make the sign, tape it to the wood handle, put my protest outfit on, pack me a little book bag with some bottled water and snacks, wear my most comfortable footwear, put my sunscreen on, drive down to the protest location, spend 20 minutes in the car looking for a parking spot, walk a mile and a half down to the meetup location and be out in the Los Angeles summertime sun for 8 hours when was one of the people who told y'all not to do what y'all did. I have to tell y'all, it makes me feel away. I'm happy that people are protesting. I am extremely happy. Y'all know, like I said, y'all know I love me some resistance. But I am feeling away. We did not have to do this. Unless it was stolen. If it was stolen, forget everything I had said. But even still, regardless, people still voted whether it was stolen or not, and they should have listened. I also really, really, really believe that there is an ancestral conversation and an ancestral force or wave that is circling Black people, particularly Black women. And I'm not saying that all black women are looped into that, because there were black women at the protest, which I commend. If you feel moved to do something, I love it. Do it. Get out there. Everybody will be called at a different time. This is not the only time. There will be other opportunities for this. They got a whole plan. So again, I think I said this last week. If you're going to end up being second shift protest, get out there for second shift, third shift. This is not the only opportunity. But based on us as black people, and as I get older, I really feel this more and more and more and more and more and more and more. I really feel like when they say the chosen people, I really feel like we are just really special. And so for me, it is no coincidence that a collective of women all at one moment in time felt a wave simultaneously and said, we need to sit down. Now, I know that is very difficult to say and do because some of us are busybodies. Because hell, y'all know, listen, I see stuff happen. I'm like, man, we got to do something. I'm also trying to think of more meaningful ways for me to have impact. Because while even something like protesting is good, it got to be a better way. We got to elevate on what our ancestors already did. We got to see the civil rights movement, and now with technology and this having a different level of money and finances, it got to be something different. We got to elevate. I don't know what that is, but I really believe that too. But it's, to me, it's no coincidence that a collective feeling settled upon a large demographic of people, and all of us in our own way, in our own translations, was like, you know what, maybe we gotta chill. Whether that be because people need to learn how to do things themselves. People gotta learn how to protest, and they gotta learn how to get in there. Otherwise, they're gonna let you do it. But I also at the same time feel like there is going to be that same wave that calls everybody to stand up again. So I'm not really tripping or stressed about that, because I know when it's time to get going, we gonna get going. But while I was driving around and seeing all them protests, and I was deeply moved. I was deeply moved, but I was also getting very angry. I was getting very angry. I got to be very transparent. I was really angry because it didn't have to be like this. Because ain't nothing you could tell me that would make me think that VP was going to be doing all this. Like, it's just enough. Both parties are the same unless you're between. Well, shut up. But overall, I am really pleased with what I saw with those protests, and I hope they keep going. It's about momentum, and you got to stay on people's neck. So whenever the next one is, I hope people go out and do the same thing that they'll do, and I'm just gonna keep reporting on it and bringing it back to Black News to discuss. But let me know y'all thoughts. Did y'all hit the streets, or were you at home? Okay, whatever. Let me know. Let me know what your thought process around this weekend's these movements were. Eager to hear your thoughts. You can find me at Canelia on social media. I feel like I will be extremely negligent if I did not discuss the tragic events that happened in Minnesota this past weekend. Minnesota lawmaker Melissa Hortman and her husband were unalived by a domestic terrorist, and state senator John Hoffman and his wife were wounded. They're calling it political violence. It was politically motivated. After a week-long manhunt, they caught the gunman, who was a 57-year-old man named Vance Luther Bolter. I don't know how you pronounce it. He was on the run. They found his car. Inside the car were protest flyers for the big protest that was happening this weekend, and a list of other Democrats in Minnesota that he was planning to target, including Governor Tim Walz, the former nominee for Vice President of the United States. It sounds like The man went to the first house, knocked on the door. They got him on ring camera. I don't know how he got in, if they let somebody let him in, but he unalived two people, then went to the next location. When the police arrived at the second location, I feel like I've read somewhere that they saw him shoot and then had a gunfight, like a gunfight with him, the police, and the man got away on foot. So just an overall tragedy. This is absolutely devastating. It's tragic, it's terrifying. And I don't want to say this to be insensitive. So if it comes off that way, that is not my intent, but I want to get this message across. I've said this before and I'm saying it again now. Based on this, we have arrived. We're here. Remember we talked about what could happen under a regime like this? We It's really stressful and it's really scary when you feel like you can see how things are playing out. And I know y'all feel understand and feel what I know y'all get it. But to wake up and to see reports of like people being murdered, like, are you kidding me? This is awful. So I'm just gonna read some of the pieces of the article in case you didn't really get some more context or haven't seen it on the news. Governor Tim Walz called it politically motivated assassination. Officials have described his plan to conduct an unaliving spree in the early hours of Sunday morning as he visited four homes belonging to state lawmakers. The assailant, he has yet to enter a plea deal and will face court again on the 27th of June. The two people that he shot that were not unalive, they are now awake in the hospital. Minnesota called this the largest manhunt in their history. They're believing that the assailant impersonated a police officer and escaped after engaging in gunfire with officers early Saturday morning. This is a mess. And like at this point, what do you do? Like what now? What? Right now? What do? Is this empowering people to continue to do things like this? Is this setting a trend? Is this where we're headed? Because I can't imagine one person waking up and doing something like this and people not being concerned that this could start something else or like a domino effect or like a trend. This is absolutely insane. Now I'm reading more and it says he's been charged with 6 federal counts. 2 of them are for the murder of the state lawmaker Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark. But I feel like, and I don't know, y'all know I don't know a lot about the law, but I do feel like I know what's happening in this nation. If it is possible, I would say they need to push for state charges as well in case someone feels moved to pardon this person from the federal charges. Because one thing that I have learned is that the top office of the United States government cannot pardon state charges. They can pardon federal. So I feel like there also needs to be a move to stack them charges because this is absolutely ridiculous. Like I just don't know what else to say. Like I just don't. I just don't. Sending prayers to the families of the victims, everybody that's affected. Yeah, this is just tragic. Yeah, let me know your thoughts about it. You can find me at Cornelia on social media. And now I'm feeling like this episode is leaning heavily politics. Is very political, but these are the main or some of the bigger news stories And I gotta share it. It's what's going on, whether people feel like they're Black news specific or not. But this one, I feel like it does definitely affect Black people. There have been rumors and leaks today and yesterday that um another level of the travel ban could be imposed. And y'all, why do most of the countries Black countries? Okay, y'all, let me read the piece of the article, okay? The Red Hat administration is considering a move that could nearly triple the number of countries subject to a travel ban, according to a State Department memo obtained by NPR. They're trying to shut down NPR, by the way. Up to 36 additional nations could be added to the list of 19 that were placed under full or partial restrictions earlier this month. The memo to diplomats in about 24 African nations, along with others in Central Asia, the Caribbean, and several Pacific Island countries, demands that they detail by this Wednesday how they will begin to address U.S. concerns and comply with new State Department requirements. Let me read the countries. The countries listed in the memo as facing bans are Angola, Antigua and Barbuda, Benin, Bhutan, Burkina Faso, Cabo Verde, and if I'm saying these wrong, please forgive me, okay? Y'all not be trying. I'm trying my best. That's good enough. Cambodia, Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, Democratic Republic of Congo. I definitely don't know how to pronounce this one, y'all. Djibouti, Dominica, Ethiopia, Egypt, Gabon, the Gambia, Ghana, Kyrgyzstan, Liberia, Malawi, Mauritania, Nigeria, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Sao Tome and Principe, and Principe. Y'all, I'm struggling with this. He's kicking my ass. Um, I'm getting my ass whooped reading this travel ban list. Senegal, South Sudan, Syria, Tanzania, Tonga, Tuvalu, Uganda, Vanuatu, I don't know what child, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. And this is not funny. I'm laughing because this is whooping my ass. Now, nations already fully banned on June 4th were Afghanistan, Chad, Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. Y'all, why the y'all? And the partial ban is Cuba, Sierra Leone, like so. Y'all, why they banning all the Black countries? And I'm not asking that because I'm really confused. Because y'all know I know the answer to this, but they're literally considering banning entry into the United States from all of the Black places. Do y'all understand now how elections have consequences? You telling me that no Black people can come here? Do y'all know what that means? Do you understand? That's crazy and evil. That's evil because I don't see any nations on here that don't lean culturally and racially diverse. I don't see Sweden on here. Great Britain is not on here. Russia? None of the, I don't see any of those places. Why is it, and I know the answer, I'm just saying this, I'm posing this question to people listening. Why is it that only these countries where the demographics lean towards diverse populations are potentially gonna be banned from travel into the United States? Is that okay with y'all? Again, uh yeah. So I just wanted to bring that up because it's happening and we're gonna be on the lookout. Nothing more to say. It's all said. Let me know your thoughts about it though. You can find me at Cornelia on social media. I'm gonna try to watch Straw tonight. I'm gonna try to watch Straw tonight. This is not breaking news, but everybody been talking about this movie It has been going viral because people have been filming reactions, their parents, their grandparents, their aunties and uncles reacting to the twist at the end of Straw. And I won't spoil it for y'all because it was spoiled for me on social media. Thank goodness that stuff doesn't bother me, but I already know what's going to happen. But I have not watched Straw and I'm going to try tonight. And I say try because let me say this. I respect and appreciate what Tyler Perry does. It is very hard being in this business, the entertainment business, at all levels. And as a black person, double hard. It is hard being in the entertainment business and achieving all that he's achieved. And just think about building sound stages. And I say this because there were conversations this, when remember Ryan Coogler and Sinners, y'all don't know this. If y'all don't know, y'all do. They filmed in Louisiana. There was a petition to get Ryan Coogler and the cast and crew to do a screening in Clarksdale, Mississippi, because there is apparently no movie theater in Clarksdale. That people got to travel outside of the city limits to see the movie. So they got Ryan Coogler, they got people, the execs from Proximity Media, they got people from Warner Brothers, they got some cast and crew. Child Miles went down there, and they had a good old time. But one of the questions posed by someone in the audience during the Q&A was, why didn't y'all film this in Mississippi? If it was based in Mississippi, why did y'all film in New Orleans? Because this could have been a good opportunity for people in Mississippi and the economy of Mississippi. And so they explained, Ryan Coogler and the producer said they explained tax incentives and how that works and how there is a limit on those tax incentives. And there was another film that already shot in Mississippi that used up those incentives, those tax credits, so they could not do it. Also, New Orleans is already set up and equipped to be able to withstand and to have a production of that size, including sound stages. People were on social media saying, well, why didn't Warner Brothers and why didn't Proximity build a sound stage? And they could have used it. A soundstage is a massive construction that can be transformed into different types of sets. Building a soundstage, I think when people hear soundstage, they think a stage. They think get a platform, build a stage. That's literally like constructing a gutted out multi-story office building that can withstand and house any type of production and in all of its equipment. You also have to have the equipment to go in, because people go, when you book a soundstage, a lot of times, sometimes those studios have the equipment that you can rent. Child, if they would have, Warner Brothers would have built a soundstage, they would still be building it right now, and Sinners would still be in pre-production because the soundstage wouldn't be done. They would still be building the stage, and also they would have to pay for the soundstage to be present in Mississippi. And so I say that to say, when Tyler Perry built that studio in Atlanta, that was a huge feat because there's multiple sound stages just with that example alone. So everything that he has been able to achieve is completely outstanding. People were also on social media talking about, I don't know if Tyler Perry said this or if someone else said this, he has produced a lot of black wealth when it comes to entertainers and entertainment industry, because I'm gonna keep it real with y'all, and I feel like I always do, and I may have said this before, ain't no money in entertainment. There is no money in entertainment. You do it for the love. God gave you a gift, he put on your heart, and you are providing that service to fulfill yourself and to present that art to the world and to give it out and to share it. But the people that y'all see on television, most of them are broke. And the people who are doing fine, I'm gonna say that's probably 3%, especially black people. The people who are doing really well, that's probably 3% of the actual number of actors and entertainers that are in the business, union and non-union. The rest of them living paycheck to paycheck. So when Tyler Perry, people be getting on and doing interviews like Taraji P. Henson and Sherry Shepherd and Tiana Taylor saying like, the first time I got, and Megan Good, the first time I got the money that I was supposed to be getting based on the number of years in my career and the talent that I have. The first time I got it was when Tyler Perry paid me. That's a damn shame. And that's real because he is the only one really doing that for our artists. So I respect it. Y'all know I can go on and on and on about the entertainment business. Because the production's down, they leave in LA, they go on other places, but they ain't shooting as much as they shoot as they was. Pilot season is damn near non-existent, which was where people would audition from January to the back end of April and have maybe 50, 60, 70, 80 auditions for pilots that were being shot and pitched to networks. You lucky now if there's even a pilot season and people give 5 auditions. It is not the same. People are struggling. I can even go into how much people actually making because we got sad contracts. Like I can look one day I can break it down. One day I'm gonna pull up the contracts and I'm gonna read it so y'all can really know. And y'all can really put it into perspective when y'all watching TV and seeing people how they gotta pay their agent, their manager before tax. Then they getting taxed. And if you don't book no other movie for the rest of the year, you are living off for that whole year $20K for a year in LA. Maybe you in poverty. You're living in poverty. But I say that because while I respect and appreciate all that Tyler Perry does, and if Tyler Perry asked me to be in something, I would probably be in it. I would just ask if my agents could put in the contract that I control my own wig. And not to be funny, but you can get that in the contract. If you got a good team, they can negotiate hair and makeup. I gotta wear my own wigs. I don't even own no wigs, but I figure it out. I say all that because I know, and he has said this himself, he writes with a specific audience in mind, and I am not a part of that target demographic. And that does not bother me. I respect it. He writes for or with his mother and his aunties. He's been saying this. He writes with them in mind. He's seen their experiences. That is who he's trying to speak to. He's trying to reach people who can relate to that. I cannot. So how every movie be having the woman struggling and the downtrodden moment and getting abused by the one man and then finding a good man who work or who got the bad box braid, the bad straight back wig, and he, sweep you off your feet. He a good old man. I cannot relate to those storylines, but I know some people can. So I always try to support the movies that come out. I'll be watching them, and I support the actors because one thing about Tyler Perry, he gonna put the actors in there that you like. He gonna put them in there. So I want to support all of them, and I'm gonna watch it. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm the target demo, and I'm fine with that. So I say all that to say I'm probably not going to report back because people going to not be talking about Straw by the time the next episode of Black News airs, but I am going to try to watch. If you watched, let me know. Okay. Please let me know your thoughts about it. Because I'm sure we're going to have a good old key discussing it. Anyway, let me know. Hit me up. You can find me at Kennelia on social media. On this week's episode of Black News, we talked about the No Kings protests that happened all across the country and the world with estimated 12 million participants across the globe. We also talked about the unfortunate news about Democratic lawmakers being unalived or shot in Minnesota this past weekend. We discussed an updated travel ban that is targeting Black countries. And we quickly discussed Tyler Perry's impact on the Black film industry in the movie Straw. Hit me up. Let me know your thoughts about all of these topics, Summer None, and I'll check back with you guys next time. That's it for this week's episode of Black News, y'all. Thanks again for supporting the podcast by sharing, liking, subscribing, and rating 5 stars on your favorite podcast app. To find more information about me, you can check me out at Kennelia on social media, as well as on my website, which is kennelia.com. And as always, thanks for supporting, and I'll be back next week with new topics and a new episode.